8 million Americans take a blood thinner every single day to stop a stroke before it happens. For most of them, the drug works exactly the way it is supposed to, quietly in the background, doing its job. But what happens when the pill itself does not meet the standard it was approved on? That is exactly what federal regulators just found in a widely used generic blood thinner, and it is the kind of failure that does not show up as a symptom. It shows up months later, when it is too late to undo. The drug is dabigatran etexilate, the generic version of Pradaxa, prescribed to reduce the risk of stroke and blood clots in people with a heart rhythm condition called non-valvular atrial fibrillation. Ascend Laboratories, based in New Jersey, is voluntarily recalling 3 specific lots after routine 12-month stability testing turned up a problem. The capsules failed what is called an impurity and degradation specification. In plain terms, as the drug sat on the shelf over time, it broke down and produced more of its own breakdown byproducts than regulators allow. The FDA's language for this is out of specification, which means the product no longer reliably matches what was approved and tested as safe and effective. Here is the scale of it. The recall covers 5,460 cartons in total, broken into 3 lots, 3,600 cartons of the 150 milligram dose in 60-count packs, 924 cartons of the 75 milligram dose in 60-count packs, and 936 cartons of the 75 milligram dose in 30-count packs. These capsules were manufactured by Laboratories in India and distributed nationwide through major pharmaceuticals out of Indianapolis, reaching pharmacies and patients across the country. The affected capsules carry expiration dates into April of 2027, which means bottles sitting in medicine cabinets right now could easily still be well within date and still be handed out at the pharmacy counter today if the recall has not fully worked through the supply chain. This is not the same issue that triggered a dabigatran recall from this same manufacturer back in 2023, when a different impurity linked to potential cancer risk was the concern. This is a separate quality failure tied to how the drug degrades over time rather than a contamination at manufacturing. But it is worth noting out loud that this is not the first time this specific generic has run into a quality control problem serious enough to trigger a nationwide recall. When the same drug from the same manufacturing relationship keeps failing different tests for different reasons, that pattern matters as much as any single recall does. Why does an impurity and degradation failure actually matter for a blood thinner specifically? Anticoagulants exist to walk a very narrow line. Too little effect, and a patient's risk of stroke or a dangerous blood clot goes up. Too much effect, and the risk shifts to uncontrolled bleeding. A capsule that no longer matches its approved chemical profile puts that balance at risk in a way that a patient has no way to feel or notice day to day. There is no symptom that tells you your pill quietly stopped performing exactly as intended. You simply keep taking it, trusting it, until the day it does not do its job. If you or someone in your family takes dabigatran etexilate, here is what actually matters right now. Check the carton or bottle for the lot number, which is usually printed near the expiration date. The 3 recalled lots are 25141583, 25141585, and 25141586. If your prescription does not match, you are not affected by this specific recall. If it does match, do not simply stop taking it on your own. Abruptly stopping a blood thinner carries its own serious risk of stroke or clot, especially for a heart condition this medication was prescribed to manage. Call your pharmacist or your doctor, confirm the lot number together, and let them coordinate a replacement prescription safely. It is also worth saying clearly that brand name Pradaxa itself is not part of this recall, only the generic dabigatran etexilate from this specific manufacturing chain. The bigger picture here is not really about one bad batch of pills. It is about how much trust an entire medication category depends on, silently every single day, and how a single failed stability test on a shelf can quietly put that trust at risk for millions of people who never see it coming. We will keep tracking pharmaceutical recalls like this one as they develop, especially anywhere a drug's failure would not show up as an obvious symptom. If staying ahead of recalls like this one matters to you or someone you care for, hit subscribe so you catch these before they become a bigger problem, and drop a like so this reaches other patients managing the same medication.